The northern end of Lough Derg is separated from the rest of the Shannon by the Portumna Swing Bridge. This is the largest swing bridge in Ireland, built in 1911. And the span that you see swinging open now was rebuilt in 2008. So that's us finished on Lough Derg.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I liked it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My favourite mooring would be Dromane.
Oh yeah, have to go along with you on that. Even though there's no services there, there's nothing. That's what makes it. It's my favourite mooring on the whole lake.
My favourite restaurant would be Gary Kennedy.
Yeah, what's the name of the restaurant there? Larkin's. Yeah.
It's pub.
It's pub come restaurant, but yeah, we got
our
best meal we had certainly at Larkin's.
And
what
desserts.
What about the lake, the waves?
No, we don't talk about those.
Well, in fairness, I think when you first went on the lake, you were kind of really nervous about it. And then as time went by, you were getting braver and braver and...
Pure warrior.
No bother tip.
No, I think, because we've been down there for a good bit, it was a case of, right, okay, you have to get into this now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think...
And I couldn't drive around the lake because it would have taken me hours, because there's only bridges in Killaloe and Portumna.
Yeah.
So, and that'd be about, I'm going to say
you couldn't skirt around in the car and beat me at the next port kind of thing. Yeah,
I think I'm going to say 2 hours between each bridge. Yeah.
So now we're off
the lake.
We're back onto river, and we've just gone through Portumna, so we're next stop. Well, Mealy Clock is our next stop, and then we'll head on up to
Banagher.
Banagher, yeah. Okay, folks.
Well, my tips on provision in the boat with food is Portumna. It's fabulous. You have fabulous super value, and you have Aldi, and you have lovely butchers. Beans butchers, I think, best lamb butchers in Ireland. And from there you go onto the lake. You have really nothing to do a big shop until you get to Scariff. You have the centre in Scariff, and there's lovely butchers there. Going down the lake, you say first of all you'd hit you're going down Cherryglass. There's nothing in Cherryglass. There is pubs and restaurants, but you can't buy. There's
a small shop in there.
Yeah, a small little shop. You get a pint of milk in, but I don't think you get to buy your shopping as such. Then you go on down to Drummondere, like that, an ice cream shop. You might get a pint of milk. Lovely pub and restaurant there. Gary Kennedy has the best restaurant. Larkin's pub there, but there again there's no shop. I'm sure you could get a taxi from any of the towns out, but if you just want to do what we done, was bring our stuff along the way, then you got to Scariff. Shannon had a little garage that you could get milk and bread and, little bits and pieces. From there down to Scariff, and you have a fine supermarket in Scariff, you have a centre, and you have lovely butchers. And then from there down to Killaloe, Ballina. And on the Ballina side, there is, when you're going down to the right side, you have fabulous big super value again, and you have Aldi and you have butchers. So you really have, and every couple of days you get a supermarket. And I think it's 8 hours from Portumna down to Killaloe, so you're really not going to that short of stuff unless you buy very little. If you staff up in Portumna, once you've decent enough fridge, you'll be fine until you get to Killaloe.
So I think the things that I learned about Lough Derg, first of all, is the 3 weather apps that I think you should get are XC Weather, Wind Guru, and the Met Aaron app. Wind Guru and XC Weather will both show you what the wind state is like, and that's very important on the lake. And because you have 2 of them, you can kind of get a second opinion. It's like going to the doctor, and if you don't like what he says, you can go to the doctor across the road. But they will both generally tell you pretty much the same thing. I thought that Wind Guru was a little bit easier to read. The Met Aaron app is very good. It has a very good rain radar on it, and The other thing is certainly fuel. Make sure you have plenty of fuel on board. It's quite a big lake, and if it gets choppy, you want to be able to give it a bit more horsepower, so you want to have a bit of reserve. And of course, make sure your filters are clean before you go in the lake, because you expect to be bounced around. That can stir up a lot of dirt at the bottom of your tank, and that will stop your engine. So, as a rule of thumb, they say a force 4 is the strongest wind that you should go out onto the lake at. You'll know a force 4 because you'll start to see a few white caps on the waves. Generally, that's probably oversimplifying it a small bit, because a force 4 is as strong as I would want to take it on the beam. Okay, and so in other words, if the waves are coming from one side, I wouldn't like to go out in anything more than a force 4. If I'm nosed into it, or I'm taking the waves from behind, you can take a stronger wind than that. But the other thing to look out for is they'll say maybe it's a southerly wind or westerly wind. When you get onto the lake, that wind will have changed direction because it'll be funneled by the landscape surrounding the lake. So go out, have a look by all means, stick the nose of the boat out into the lake, see what you think, but don't be afraid to turn around and go back in. Remember, generally guys don't mind waves on a lake. The ladies generally get quite upset by the waves. You do not want to be the skipper that puts your nearest and dearest or your children off boating because you've got too macho on my doubt and you shouldn't go out. So don't be afraid to turn around and go back into port, crack open a beer instead. I love these old markers, the ones that are mounted on the wooden posts. They predate some of the more modern ones. You might just make out there behind that bank of reeds there's an embankment, and that embankment runs all the way from Portumna all the way to Meelick, and that was built back in the 1920s as part of the Ardnacrusha project. At the time that the Ardnacrusha Dam was built, the levels of Lough Derg rose, and we're at the same level as Lough Derg here. So this river stretch here, up as far as Meelick, all that river level rose as well, and that's what that embankment was built for. And you might be able to see it going through the fields over here. Ironically, they only put an embankment on the west side of the river. If you click the link above, that's to the video of these gates actually being fitted. And it's hard to believe they're actually very new looking gates, but they're starting to weather quite a bit at the moment. Most of these cows showed complete indifference to us going past. So, as a bit of a recap then, we would say food.
Food.
Make sure you stock up on food.
Food and diesel.
And diesel indeed. And do keep an eye on the weather.
Yeah.
Weather is a big factor on the lakes, and you do have to check every time before you go out. Even if you don't have a weather app, ask some of the local people, and they'll give you good advice. There's lots and lots to see. And
it's beautiful, and you have the hills of Clare, and you have the hills of Tipperary, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Really is lovely, yeah.
So guys, listen, I hope you found it a bit useful. If you have any other tips that you think of, there's probably loads of stuff we've forgotten to mention or don't know about, please put it in the comments below, because read them and you'll see contributions that other people have made as well. Thanks for watching, guys.
Cheerio. Don't forget, thumbs up. Cheerio.